Can you understand me?
Yeah.
Good. See, I like to ask people because I find that most people don't understand a word that I'm saying. I don't think they realize that there are many days where I don't understand what I'm saying either. So I like to make people feel more comfortable by asking. I also realize that there's some of you out here who will probably still feel uncomfortable looking at someone like me because I'm just so vastly different from you. You may even find yourself wanting to chuckle or laugh. I say, you know what I said? Do so. Seriously, it's fine. No, I'm like, it happens to me all the time. Also, I tell you this because periodically I may look at one of you guys and want to, chuckle too, so. Fair game. I'm getting married in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He's a really wonderful, beautiful man.
Aw.
I love him. I met him at work, and I work at an old folks home. And they tend to put people like me at an old folks so that the old folks don't feel so bad about dying. The joke. But I met him because he was staring at me, and as you can imagine, it happens to me pretty often because, I guess I'm very stareable. But he was looking at me in a very different way. You know that kind of way when, someone's looking at you, so you turn around so they don't look at you, but then you feel them looking at you, so when you turn around, they're no longer looking? Well, that's what he was doing. So I said, you know what, I know how to handle this. So I said, okay. So I tippy-toed around him, waited for him to turn around. And when he turned around, this is what he saw. And you should have seen his face. I must have spooked him because he didn't talk to me for a week after that. And he came to me, finally, after not talking to me, he said, hi. And I said, well, it's about time. Hi. And he said, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been looking at you. I said, well, yeah, here's the thing. I'm physically disabled, I'm not blind. And it made him a little more nervous, And he was like, well, I'm sorry, just because I didn't know how to come up to you and ask you to go to dinner with me. And I just said, okay, that's nice that you want to do that, that's great, but I'm not interested, no thank you. And he said, well, why not? I said, well, because it's just not something that I do. And he's like, well, why not? I'm like, God the fuck damn. I was like, I don't know if you noticed, but my head is tilted in a certain way, so there are times when I put food in my mouth that it doesn't always stay there. So if you're sitting across from me, I find it to be a little disconcerting watching food fall out of my mouth, so I just find it a little easier to eat alone. And he said, oh, well, what about a napkin? I thought, these motherfuckers, you can't stop. And I thought, and I couldn't say anything to that. I'd never thought of a napkin. So I said, all right, well, listen, man, when you thinking of picking me up? And he said, at 9. I said, all right, fine, let's do it. But so when I went home that day, you have to understand that this happened so early on in the day, so I just forgot. And when I went home, I did what I usually do. I did the chores, I paid the bills, washed my body, put on Law and Order, and I was having a great time. I do this all the time. And the doorbell rang, and I thought, what the, who could this be? Who comes in around this time? I opened the door, and when I opened the door, there he is, standing. And he looks at me, gives me the whole up and down, and turns around, walks away, and I think, that's one way to do it. I turned around, went to go watch Law and Order again. 20 minutes afterwards, the doorbell rings. And I go up to him, and I'm like, open the door, and there he is again. But this time, he's in his pajamas. And I was like, okay. And he looked at me in the eye, and he said, well, are you ready? Ready to go? And I was flabbergasted, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, let's do it. And so off we went to dinner in our pajamas. And the thing is, he's so silly, he's really very silly. And he told me this joke while we were there. He said, horse walks into a bar, Bartender looks at the horse and says, "Why the long face?" He laughed for like 20 minutes. I just sat there. I don't get it. I still don't get it. But I thought that, anybody could tell a joke that badly and could say it with such panache. It's probably somebody I want to get to know. So we sat, we ate, we laughed, we had a great time, And as I told them, food kept falling out of my mouth. But as he advised, a napkin was there to catch it. So we became friends. We became great friends. We talked. We hung out a lot. So when he tells me that he was going to go out a certain night, I didn't think anything of it. He said, "Well, hey, I'm going to go dancing tonight." I said, "Okay, cool. Have a great time." He said, "Well, I want you to come with me." I was like, "Okay, as what?" He's like, "Well, as my date." I was like, "What? Okay, am I missing something?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, well, let me be the first to tell you that this is just not a disco body. I don't do dancing. And he's like, "Well, why not?" And that's the question that he asks all the time, and I can't think of anything. So I said, "All right, well, listen, when you picking me up?" And he said at 9, and so we went. And the thing is, we went dancing, and I had a great time. I enjoyed myself. I was moving, and I was gone, and I don't do that very often, and there were times where I fell, but I got back up, pretended like nothing happened, and nobody cared. It was fun. And then a few weeks later, he asked me, he's like, "Hey, listen, I have a friend who's got a house on a beach and with a pool." It's like, "Well, hold on. I don't do beaches, I don't do pools, I don't even have a bathing suit." It's like, "Well, okay, let's just get in the car, we can talk about it because I need to get me a Speedo." I'm like, okay. So we went in the car and drove to Susie's sweatshop. Susie's swim shop, and when I walked in, you should have noticed the face that Susie had when I walked in. I did. So I bought me a Speedo. And I walked into the car angry, like, "Fucking what the Speedo?" And he's like, "Well, now that you have a Speedo, you're going to have to go to the party." I was like, "God, fine. But I'm going to go unless I feel comfortable." So I went to the store nearby. I got me this bathrobe, the biggest bathrobe I could find. And I got this hood. And things don't turn out the way you want them to sometimes. And that day ended up being 1,000,000 degrees outside. Like, seriously, it sucked. So I was standing here, sweaty, hoping, praying that just a breeze would come in, something. Nothing happened. So I waved the white flag. Like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to take it off. And when I took it off, it was scary because I hadn't planned for this, right? So I started taking it off, looking around, seeing if anyone was looking. And guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing. The sky didn't open up. The people didn't keel over. I mean, people would walk by like, "Oh, walk away." Nothing happened. So I started asking myself, like, why didn't I ever do this before? Like, you have to understand, like, I had never had the sun touch me. Not like that. And I loved it so much that day I had the worst sunburn. I didn't know how to deal with it, but I just wanted to be outside. And that night, I was sitting. I was sitting and I was eating, and he looked back at me, and he had a smile on his face. And his smile dropped, and he asked me, "Is it hard for you?" So what hard? This? I said, "Well, no, it's not hard for me. I think it's harder on other people because I feel like they're so nervous that if I touch them, that they're going to wake up the next day looking like me. So it's a little hard to make friends sometimes. But I have a lot of life in my mind. I dream a lot. I really do." Like, "Well, what do you dream about?" I was like, oh, okay, well. When I dream that my hip is straight. I dream that my shoulder is down. I dream that my arm and my forearm and my fingers are movable. I dream that my neck and head are straight, which in turn straightens out my vocal cords. Pretty much when I'm dreaming that I'm normal, like everyone else. Sometimes when I dream that, I'm waving up at like two different people going up in two different directions at the same time. Sometimes when I dream that I'm like conducting this orchestra. Most of the time when I dream that people just see me as a person, not as a thing. But also because I'm dreaming, I know that I'm going to wake up. And when I wake up, I know that I'm going to go back right to who I am. And it's okay. It really is. Like, I love me. I wouldn't be me without this. So no, it's not hard for me. When I told him that, he said, oh. But the way he said oh just told me that, maybe I need to slow this relationship down. Maybe this is too much. So I remember telling myself, tomorrow I'm going to go to work and I'm going to tell him that. So I went to work, was going up, and he came up to me. He's like, hey, I have something to tell you. I was like, okay, I'm great. I have to talk to you too. He's like, well, me first. I'm like, God, all right, go. What is it? He's like, well, and he stood his ground. He looked at me in the eye and he said, you're my best friend. Marry me. I was like, well, that's why you should have fucking let me go first. Like, shit. And then he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, why? Yeah, I didn't know how to handle it because nobody's ever told me that. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? Why what do you mean marry you? He's like, well, yeah, let's get married. I was like, come on. Like, you lost a bet, didn't you? Huh? Like, who can make the crippled boy feel something? It's like, no. It's like, oh, well, then what is it? You got this reality show you're trying to put up, the Who Wants to Marry a Crip? When I said that, it was as if I slapped him right in the face. But then he stood his ground again. And he looked at me. He said, you're my best friend. I love you. What are you saying? I've never met anybody like you. I can find all these kinds of people who have it on the outside, but to find 1 in a million who have it on the inside? Why do I want people to drag me backwards when I can go forwards with you? I love you. I never met anybody like you. I never met anybody who could have food fall out of their mouth and make it look like poetry. I never met anybody who could fall on the dance floor and get up and have everyone else around them fall too. Come on. Marry me. And I told him, well, you haven't thought about this. Have you thought about this? Do you know what people are going to be saying? Do you know the snickers you're going to have behind your back? Do you know what people are going to be calling you? It's like, well, yeah. They already do that now. Doesn't bother me. I want to be with you. Come on. I want you to take care of me. I want to take care of you. I want to make love to you. I want to be the light. I say, okay, what? Let's just hold back to you. What was that thing you said about what is that? It's like, what? I want to make love to you? And I was like, well, okay. Just wanted to make sure you say it again. And he's like, well, I'll say it a million times. I was like, no, I'm not. No. And I started to walk away. And when I walked away, I remember distinctively, there was this voice in my head that said, oh, hold on there. How many proposals of marriage do you think you're going to be getting? Especially from someone who loves you and someone whom you love. You're probably going to want to have to rethink this one. And it was right. So I turned around, I looked at him, and I said, Are you sure? He said, positive. Okay. Well, are you serious? Like a heart attack. It's like, well, shit, that's very serious. Fine. Where's the ring? And I said, yes. So I'm getting married in 2 weeks. And if you guys are around and you want to go to a slamming party, you should come to my wedding because we're going to have a disco pool party.